How y'all doing out there? Everyone's favorite Tobey Maguire lookalike, Ben from TM Combustors here, crashing a wave of modding tutorials all over you. So, in today's video, I will be showing you how to set up a Pokémon modding environment on Linux. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. I'd just like to interject for a moment that what you're referring to as Linux is in fact GNU/Linux, or as I've recently taken to calling it GNU plus Linux. Yeah, I know all about that. In fact, that actually ties into the reason I'm making this video. I'm making this video because shortly after this video releases, I'll be dropping the very first tool in my collection of Pokemon modding tools for Linux, known as the I Just Like to Hey Guys collection. So, yeah, don't worry, this tool will be cross-platform, meaning only the Linux version of it is considered part of the I Just Like to Hey Guys collection. The Windows version of it is not, for obvious reasons. But anyway, with a quick disclaimer, now I'm going to put this quick disclaimer up here. Now, I have to put this disclaimer in here because I was once banned from someone's Pokemon modding server for making a not safe for work 3D model of Vaporeon. So I have to put this disclaimer in here. But please, whatever you do, do not use this tutorial to make not safe for work mods unless your not safe for work mods are being shared in places that allow it. This is so you don't get banned. I know of places that allow it. Most places don't allow it, so if you don't know, assume the place does not allow it. But if you want to know of places that do allow it, a website I can think of that allows it is itch.io. And unfortunately, the only Discord server I can think of that allows it is my own Discord server, TM Combustors Modding Zone. But for those who don't want to see not safe for work content, it's fine. TM Combustors Modding Zone only allows it in dedicated channels and actually has the explicit content filter turned on, so channels that aren't those dedicated channels will automatically delete it. Honestly, I think more people should do that with their servers. More people should do that. Have a dedicated not safe for work channel and have the explicit content filter turned on. I think more people should do that. If the issue's not having someone who'd be willing to moderate it, hire me to moderate it. So, yeah. Like I said, I had to put that disclaimer in so you don't get banned. As I got banned, and I don't want you getting banned. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get started. This is a fresh install of Linux on an SSD that I just popped into this computer for this tutorial. It's smaller than the SSD I normally have in this computer, but that's fine. I don't need 4 terabytes of space for this. And yeah, I did that approach this time instead of a VM because I couldn't be bothered to set up IOMMU, and I don't even know if this device supports IOMMU. So, yeah. I mean, this device does have 2 graphics devices, so it might support IOMMU. I don't know for sure, though. Have to look into that. But yeah, the Linux distro I'm using on this is Kubuntu, which is just Ubuntu with KDE as the desktop. So I will point out in the video when what I'm doing is different on different Linux distros. I will point that out in this tutorial. But like the only 2 things I did to this install... Okay, there were 3 things I did. I installed Flatpak, I installed OBS, and I installed Flatseal. So basically I just installed OBS and 2 things that are required for this version of OBS to work properly. That's basically all I did. In fact, I haven't even installed Kdenlive yet, my video editor. I'll install Kdenlive later, but yeah. So first thing we're going to want to do is get your game's files onto the computer. So you dump this just like how you would normally. I'm going to use Atmosphere's built-in MTP server tool to copy it from my Switch. I don't know why the desktop audio stopped working when I opened OBS. It's weird. Okay, okay, we're going to copy the exefs, which I believe is this folder, and the romfs, which I believe is the other folder. I believe 0 is exefs, and 1 is romfs. I like it that when you use Haze, I think this tool is called, to do it, it automatically merges LFS files. Like data.trpfs would be an LFS file due to how big it is. Yeah, I'm going to put a jump cut in right here. Okay, just wanted to point out one last thing. Sorry for the infinity mirror. Okay, let me just turn the switch off. Now, more recent versions of NXDump tool name the folders like this, so I like to rename them. Yep, I did that right. Now the next step in this tutorial is going to be installing Wine. Now, for developers who aren't as nice as TM Combustors will only release their tools for Windows and will usually write them in C#. So what that means is that we need wine. Wine stands for wine is not an emulator, because it is not an emulator. It translates Windows syscalls into POSIX syscalls, which means it is by definition not an emulator, as the programs are still running on the same architecture. So yeah, by the way, this part is how you do it on Ubuntu, because Ubuntu has apt and dpkg as the package management software. And since I'm on 25.04, we do this. And now, I like to install the staging branch. Oh, the wrong key. So yeah, you follow these instructions, yeah. And yeah, as you can see, the instructions on Debian are very similar, because Debian uses the same package management software as Ubuntu. And okay, since my internet connection's a bit slow, I'm gonna put another jump cut in right here. Normally my internet connection isn't this slow, but yeah, I'm just having internet issues today. Okay, now that Wine is finished installing, let's install Winetricks. Winetricks is essentially a package manager for Wine. Okay, thankfully that installed quickly. Probably because it's much smaller than Wine. Okay, yeah. Okay, another download that is going to take such a long time. You know what? Yeah. I think before I cut the video, I'm gonna just talk a little bit more about my Discord server, Why do I allow NSFW in my server? Is something you might be wondering. The reason is I couldn't find a good server that allowed NSFW mods that wasn't a server that focused entirely on NSFW. Like, basically, my server is like a modding / techie server that just so happens to allow NSFW mods in dedicated channels, that is. So if you don't want to see that content, just don't go in those channels. It's as simple as that. And also, outside those channels, if you mention NSFW content, please respect what someone says. If they say they don't want you talking about it, respect that. A first offense will get you a warning. A second offense will get you a timeout, and a third offense will get you a ban. Thing is, we try to be nicer than the other modders. We think the modding community is a little bit too toxic, and we're trying to help reverse that. We're trying to be nice. That's why we said we do our moderation like that. For a lot of the rules, first offense is a warning, second is a timeout, and the third is a ban. In fact, I really like it that Discord added the timeout feature. For that reason, when I first started using Discord, they did not have the timeout feature. And if you look at the age of my account and you're like, what are you talking about? The timeout feature existed when your account was created. It's because that's not my first account. It's a long story, and yes, part of it has to do with the incident with the not safe for work Vaporeon model that got me banned. And yeah, I'm trying to repair my relationship with the modding community, as I feel like what I did wasn't very good. You know I'm recording right now.
Sorry. You shouldn't have.
Okay, there's a spot in the video where I'm gonna have to mute the audio. Okay, I think I should start using the tray icon to start and stop recording so I don't create infinity mirrors. But yeah. I feel like I want to be nicer than the rest of the modders. I do admit that some of the stuff I did wasn't very good, and I feel sorry for that. I spent over a year improving my mental health, and now I'm trying to make a better impression on the modding community now that I've improved my mental health. Because I want to participate in the modding community without them feeling uncomfortable. This is why I don't post NSFW outside my server now. Well, outside my server and other places that allow NSFW. That's why I don't do that now. I've put my account at risk too many times doing that. And even gotten banned from a few places doing that. And I even went so mentally insane to the point where I stalked one of the moderators that banned me, which I regret doing that. I regret doing that. That was very wrong. And honestly, I hope the moderator who banned me is watching this so they can see that I regret doing that. I won't say their name for privacy reasons. Okay, the installation is finished. So you want to do this, and we select the default wine prefix. So shit, wait, I forgot to install cab extract. Oh wait, it already installed cab extract manually because I installed it. I installed Winetricks via apt, and installing it via apt automatically installs cab extract. So let's see. You're gonna want to. We're gonna go install a font, and we're gonna do all fonts. And this can take a while, especially if your Wi-Fi router and cable modem are potatoes like mine are right now. Like, look at those download speeds. So I think it's time for another jump cut in the video. Oh, I said I would use the tray icon to do this. Okay, so next we'll go into install Windows DLL or component. We're going to want to install DXVK. Yeah, I made myself some deviled eggs as a snack. Okay, this doesn't look like it'll take too long to download. Let me actually run a speed test. Yeah, that sucks. Let's install Windows DLL or component. Now, gonna want to. I think we're gonna install VC Run 2022. Yeah, this download looks like it'll take a while on my potato connection, so I'm gonna pause my recording. Okay, decided to continue recording now because the download's almost finished. Yeah, my internet connection sucks. Now we're going to want to install as many versions of .NET as possible. I wonder what the internet connection coming straight out of my cable modem is like. I should test that. Playing audio notification failed, destroyed. I've never seen that error before. Okay, what version is this? Okay, this is version 4. Yeah, I think it's time to pause the recording again. I actually did not need to pause the recording. That didn't take very long. Playing audio notification failed, destroyed. I wonder what that error message means. Like, the sound from my computer was working just fine until I opened OBS. It says destroyed. Please tell me something didn't get fried in my computer. This version of .NET Framework, it was either Windows 8 or Windows 10 that came with this version. And now this version seems so old. Really messes with your perception of time, I guess. Let's install .NET 3.5. Okay, my internet connection slowed down again. So I guess it's time to put a cut in the video. Wow, my internet connection speed just shot up. Okay, I'm gonna quote a Samsung ad now. Sounds explicit. In case you're wondering what it'd be like if TM Combustors ever did ads, they would be as unhinged as Samsung ads. You know, maybe we should make a Google ad for libtmcnn detect. It would help us reach out to people. I know that could be expensive, but I think it'd be worth it. Okay, yeah, I forgot. It works best if you install version 2 first. Okay, I'm at like dial-up speeds right now, so yeah. I think maybe I should cut the video again. Okay, I turned the recording back on because the download's almost finished. And remember, I'm a furry who looks like Tobey Maguire. Bullying furries is so 1999. And if you know why I said that specific year, okay. Yeah, let's just not install. Let's just not install those versions. Anyway, I don't think any programs will need versions that old. Yeah, we're gonna install version 6. Actually, no. It was .NET Desktop runtime I wanted to. No, not .NET. Remember, there's a difference between them. You know what? I'm gonna connect to my phone's hotspot. That should speed this up. I named my phone's hotspot Vaccine Chip Activator as a way to troll conspiracy theorists. Okay, yeah, this is going a lot faster on my phone's hotspot. Okay, Yeah, looks like switching networks during the install did not go too well. Okay, from what I've seen, this tends to work better if you just download the installer directly. I mean, it worked before. Oh, I see the issue. I actually read the log and saw what the issue was. I saw it was causing all my issues. Yeah, that's it. Now this stuff should work a lot better. You know, maybe we'll try those other versions now that I have. I think we'll try those other versions now that I have my version set to Windows 11. Might work better now. Yeah, let's see. Okay, that did not fix it. Yeah, I think we're gonna stick with just those versions. You know, I think we might as well also install 7 and 8. Yeah, actually. We're not gonna install 7 as 7 is EOL. We'll install 8 though. Oh, okay. Did it change my version again? Yeah, I changed my version to Windows XP again. Yeah, Windows XP is way too old for that version of .NET. Windows XP is older than me, only by a year though. Yeah, I was born in 2002. Okay, yeah. There's a couple more things we're gonna need. So, Now let's actually test out what we did. So yeah, due to licensing issues, they can't include this 002 Core 8 DLL with the program. You have to download it separately. Honestly, I think we need a decomp of this DLL so we can have something open source instead. That's what I think we need, is a decomp of that DLL. Weird. Normally it runs just fine on Wine. Not sure why it isn't working. Normally it works just fine on Wine. Let me try reinstalling this. Okay. You know what, let's actually install this. This might help. I don't know if it will. I think I'm gonna Okay, I don't know why it's not working. You know, I'll just try installing .NET 7, see if that fixes it. So I actually don't know which version this uses. This is weird. You know, I think I'll maybe check my machine where I know it's working and see what I did wrong. So there was one difference I could find. The difference I could find was that this package looked to be installed. Am I connected to the hotspot? Yeah, I am. Okay, it works now. That was what was causing the issue. So I guess I did need an ancient version. So now a good setup thing you can do is unpack the game's resources. Now I like to disable the auto load of the TRPFD, but do that after you unpack the game resources. This tool can be a bit slow at times, I've noticed. So right here, the top level of ROMFS, that's where we're gonna save this to. So let's switch it to the tree view. So we right click save file. And then now I'm gonna cut the video right here. Okay, now it's done extracting the game resources, so let's close this. You can ignore that. So now let's install a tool that's actually natively available for Linux. We'll install... Now this tool was technically made for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. You know, the game where everyone's here. So... Ultimate text. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna So yeah, now it's installed. And okay, so I have a script that recursively goes through and converts bntx to png on a folder. but that script isn't on this computer. It's on my other computer, so hang on, I'm just gonna try to recreate that script. Now what I like to do is I like to create a copy of the folder where the Pokemon models are. Wait, I forgot to add something to this. Why is my face itchy? Okay, let's pause this. Okay, let me see if I remembered the code for the script correctly. Okay. Let's actually go in here and see. Okay, yeah, there we go. And there, I just made a script that does the opposite. So yeah, while that's running, I think we'll move on to the next step. For the next step, we'll be getting flat buffer schemas and installing flat C. One thing I've seen is that the personal schema is that the personal schema in here, despite this saying fix, is a bit buggy. So what I like to do is okay, now next up we'll install Blender. And again, install this with your package manager of choice. I'm using Flatpak, as I like Flatpak, though keep in mind if you use Flatpak, you're gonna need to change the permissions with Flat Seal, otherwise some stuff could get messed up. I already have Flat Seal installed because I had to install it to get my permissions for OBS the way I like them. And I did it by changing the all applications permissions, so Blender should work just fine out of the box. It should. And looks like it does. Now we need Now we need this. Now, keep in mind, there's a bug where when you use this on Linux, this one thing will happen, and I'll show you the workaround for the bug. I'm gonna load my favorite Pokemon, because why not? So yeah, that's the bug. I've noticed this bug only happens on Linux. I might want to leave an issue about it on either the plugin or on Blender. I don't know which would be the better thing to leave the issue on. But we need to install Python 3.11 to fix this. So to get that specific version of Python, what we're going to need to do is first sudo apt install build essential. We're actually going to have to compile this from source code. And I'll show how to do that. Yeah, they don't have pre-built versions for Linux because they expect Linux users to know how to compile something from source. Now this tool will configure it. Okay, we do this warning. We're gonna install package config. We're gonna run that check again with package config installed. Basically what this does is it checks to see if your system is set up properly for compiling it, and then, yeah. And then we do Now, the dash J argument for make says how many jobs to run in parallel. The maximum you can is the number of threads your CPU has, and nproc is a command that gets the number of threads. So if you do this, it basically says what goes into dash J is the output of the nproc command. And now this shouldn't take too long to compile because I got a machine with a decent number of threads. Okay. Okay. The error was that was missing the FFI library, so you want to do sudo apt install lib FFI dev. Okay, you also install OpenSSL so it can build the SSL module. Okay, I don't think we'll need that module, so let's just... Okay, why don't I have pip? Let's try this again after searching for those dependencies. And after installing the dependencies, let's see if configure it. What? Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Now... Now what we're going to need to do is we go var lib flatpak app And then we browse through Blender's files. Okay, now it should work. Okay. Now this is the SD card I used to install the OS. And now here's the first tool in the I Just Like to Hey Guys collection. It's a tool used to merge TRPM catalog mods. So let me explain a bit about this tool. So it adds the right hand onto the left hand. That's important to know. The way it resolves merge conflicts is by adding the right hand onto the left hand. This currently only supports TRPM catalog merging. I will eventually add support for merging other things. But like this is for like a National Dex mod. Or for the type of mod that you should only ever make if you're in a server that allows it. Those are the types of mods that require TRPM catalog edits. So here's the correct file structure. That's the correct file structure. And in the file picker, you're going to want to select the ROMFS folder. That's what you're going to want to select. The final version of this tool will look like this, except it will have a help menu. The reason why I didn't add the help menu to TRPM Catalog Anvil yet is because it will have a link to this video in it. And yeah, I really do want the modding community to see that I've improved. That I'm not the psychopath I once was. Because people from the Pokemon modding community are part of the people on my list of people who I think could beta test libtmcn and detect. You know, libtmcn and detect is the thing I've been blogging about a lot on this channel. With my most recent episode of the blog being the libtmc asset MVP showcase. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Until next time, TM Combusters, electrify your life. Combust the TMs!